Extraordinaire off to monitor schools, and if you don't see him today, then wish him a happy birthday at the Charlottetown Farmers Market tomorrow. Yeah, Alistair is the cheese guy at the Farmers Market. Hunter Visser of Cornwall is 13. Happy birthday to you. Malcolm Roach of Vernon River, 5 years old. From Mom, Dad, brothers Lachlan, Rory, and Liam, and also from Janda and Colin. Dale McCall of Flat River. Hey, Dale, happy birthday, family. There's another for Alistair Vino. Yes, Marcus Delaney. Marcus, happy birthday to you. We hear you are 8 years old today and heading off to Elm Street School this morning. Happy birthday. Grade 2. And he loves listening to Ocean 100, especially the people praying. And as he said, Frances Llewellyn in Georgetown. Frances, one of the most beautiful ladies I've ever been privileged to know. 2 years old today for Frances. The Landry family, all your family and friends say happy birthday. Frances still lives in her own home. She loves life, gardening, fishing, hockey, many other adventures that she's enjoyed over the years have kept her very, very sharp. Her memory is incredible. I had
1,200 Aboriginal women have disappeared or been killed over the past 30 years, and they are desperate for action to stop others from being harmed. Lorelei Williams has lost a cousin and an aunt.
I'm skeptical about it, but I still have hope.
Vivian Tacaro's daughter Amber was killed in 2010, leaving behind a little boy.
And her son Jacob was warned. That's what Amber told.
And so that's what Takaro lives for now. And it's why she's here, despite her doubts that the federal government will bring new money or action to the table. Karina Roman, CBC News, Ottawa.
The government's anti-terrorism legislation, Bill C-51, is getting a lot of scrutiny. It's close to 60 pages long, so there's a lot to go through, but many civil rights experts are worried about a new provision around security certificates. These are the legal documents that allow the government to detain and deport non-citizens who might be a security threat. For more on this, I'm joined from Ottawa by the CBC's Louise Elliott. Louise, what exactly is the provision in C-51 that has civil rights experts so concerned, and why?
Well, Danielle, the bill contains a line that would essentially allow the government to withhold information from the accused person's lawyer, also known as a special advocate. The line actually states that the government must provide information that is, quote, relevant to the grounds of inadmissibility. Experts say that that line contradicts a series of Supreme Court rulings in the cases of Mohammed Harkat and Adil Sharkawi. Paul Cavalluzzo was one of the special advocates in the Harkat case. Here's what he had to say yesterday.
What Canada said in the Harkat case, the government constantly overasserts its national security privileges. There's got to be very serious questions raised as to why they want to give less disclosure.
Louise, what is the government saying about these provisions?
Well, a spokesperson for the Department of Public Safety said the government does sometimes have to rely on classified information because of national security concerns. But the lawyers I spoke with were very clear that the courts have ruled that this poses a distinct danger when there's two sets of information, one of which is not disclosed to the special advocate. The risk here is that a permanent resident or a non-citizen could be deported on the grounds of national security incorrectly, that they could basically be sent off because all the evidence was not revealed. And so that is the concern here.
Louise, thank you.
You're welcome.
The CBC's Louise Elliott in Ottawa. Families of the hostages killed by the ISIS militant known as Jihadi John are dealing with news of his identity.
A regulation that says people appearing before a judge must be suitably dressed. El Alul refuses, and Judge Marengo says this.
I will therefore not hear you if you are wearing a scarf on your head, just as I would not allow a person to appear before me wearing a hat or sunglasses on his or her head.
El Alul was shocked. She intends to file a formal complaint to Quebec's Council of Judges.
When she insisted that I should remove hijab, really I felt like I'm not a human being. She doesn't deserve to be a judge.
Samir Zubari is a board member of the Canadian Muslim Forum.
I mean, I'm just flabbergasted. This is really just a no-brainer. The judge should have known better.
A spokesperson for the chief judge of the Quebec court says judges have a lot of discretion to interpret the law as they see it. The law does not spell out precisely what suitably dressed means. Judge Marengo says
So-called payday loans, they're aimed at people with bad debt and poor credit. Our colleagues at Marketplace have been looking at the real cost of these loans to the borrower. Aaron Saltzman reports.
In her cluttered suburban bungalow, 57-year-old grandmother Helen Perry is supporting 2 adult children on a wage that hasn't increased in 8 years. With her car
packets for Nathan Horton in a money salary cap space deal. Kings' 8-game win streak is over after a 1-0 loss to
also exceedingly expensive. Actuary Peter Gorham calculated the effective annual interest rate on Helen Perry's loan at more than 57%. The legal limit is 60.
They have structured the loans to be just marginally under the criminal interest rate. So they're towing the line. They're legal.
I don't think anyone really understood.
A former Easy Financial employee who didn't want her identity revealed told Marketplace she thought customers often didn't comprehend the cost of borrowing.
I would come home every day feeling depressed, like just felt like we were stealing from people.
In a statement, Easy Financial said our loan contracts disclose the cost of borrowing clearly, and 95% of our customers rate their experience with Easy Financial as good or excellent. Not Helen Perry. Unable to make the payments on her loan, she got a credit counseling service to help negotiate a new interest rate, just under 10%. That, she says, she can afford. Aaron Saltzman, CBC News, Toronto.
The Marketplace investigation into installment loans airs tonight at 8 on CBC Television, 8:30 in Newfoundland. Well, this weekend, many will be inside watching a political thriller.
We'll have a lot of nights like this. Making plans. Barely sleep.
I expected that. That's Kevin Spacey playing Frank Underwood, the most underhanded politician.
Nation, as well as all the details of this weekend's big event. Pat Martell joining us live from the outdoor venue of this year's Jack Frost Children's Winterfest. Good morning, Pat.
Good morning, Matt. And if you listen carefully, you'll be able to hear the ice sculptor sculpting just a second.
Working away.
Yeah, keep working away, and we may get a chance to talk to him in just a moment. Now my microphone's all covered with snow because we put it all on top of my mic. Anyway, let's see what we can do. So, Matt, this view out here this morning is just tremendous with the sun shining here at the Charlottetown Events Grounds, and it's enough to warm the heart of any winter Grinch. It is indeed a winter wonderland. There are the ice sculptures that he's working on up there. There's giant slides, igloos. We'll hear more about that in just a moment. And the forecast, as I heard Peter say, is sunny, sunny. We like that. And for those who perhaps can't stand the cold, organizers have planned lots of indoor events at the Charlottetown Arena nearby. Now, joining me with all the details of this year's Jack Frost Festival, Winterfest, is Laura Lee, and she's project manager of the event. Good morning, Laura.
Good morning.
Nice and warm today.
It is. It's a beautiful day. We can't wait.
Laura, this is the 10th Jack Frost Festival, and for the last 2 years, Straight Crossing Bridge Limited has organized the event. So what's new this year?
So the basic framework of the event will remain the same as it has in previous years, but what is new this year is that we have an incredible number of snow and ice slides, more than we have ever had before. We have a cat run, which is our large tube run, that is twice the size that it was for the past number of years.
What's that like to go down?
It is thrilling, to say the least. You'll have to experience it when we're done.
I've never been on it before, but I just love sliding down things.
I think we can arrange for you to test it for us.
Okay.
Additionally, we have a special project that our sculptors have been working on, which is an igloo village that was created using an inflatable that they packed with snow versus sculpting out the actual igloo. So it's a new technique, and the results were incredible. You'll have to come down here to see that, though.
And then there's something really big and exciting for indoors.
Yes, how could I forget? We have the exclusive Atlantic Canadian performances by Imagination Movers, Meet the Movers.
And what is that? I've never heard of them before.
Imagination Movers is a children's rock band.
Well, I've never heard of it.
It's made up of forefathers from New Orleans, and it is apparently an incredible, spectacular experience. Ticketmaster.com actually named them the #1 live show for families recently, so everyone attending that should have a fabulous time.
And also there's other things like bouncy castles, inflatables.
Petting zoo, face painting, balloon tying. We've got 2 performances by a local children's theater company, the Cat's Pajamas Theater Co. of The Ugly Duckling. Performances by the music band Michael Pendergast. It's going to be a great time.
And that's Becca Griffin's new theater company.
That is Becca Griffin's new endeavor, yes.
Yeah. Now, what are the biggest attraction here on the outdoor snow, here at the Snow Kingdom?
On the outdoor Snow Kingdom, it's always the slides. The kids love sledding, so we've got 9 ice slides for them this year. We've got snow slides, like I mentioned. We've got the massive tube runs, so there should be no shortage of slides for them to experience.
And tell me about these new kind of igloos that have been created.
So when you walk inside, you'll be amazed. They are completely sculpted on the inside. They have ice windows. They're just a beautiful experience. They've got benches to sit down on the inside. They're connected. It's just an amazing area to explore, and it's sheltered. So if you want to get in out of the wind that always seems to exist on the Charlottetown event grounds, you can get in there and just relax. It's an enjoyable time.
It's big enough to walk inside.
It is gigantic. I will take you up there when we're done.
Okay. And now the Canadian snow sculpting team is back to carve their magic. Tell us about these talented artists.
Well,
and we see one right there.
As you can see, Peter's here working on our presenting sponsor Island Coastal's logo at the exit facade, but he's put together an amazing team of 7 sculptors. He also has a few volunteers locally here with him, and they work tirelessly for about the last 2 weeks before the festival, taking it from a snow grounds to a magical winter wonderland.
Now, speaking of snow, I've seen city crews dumping mountains of snow here, and that's over the last few weeks to literally make the mountain, and it towers over these events grounds. But people were scratching their heads lately to see the snow machines in action. Why make more snow when we had so much already?
So as you can see, we've got a number of walls that are up. We've got
these walls are just like concrete too. I touched one.
The new leader come up to the stage and speak with Bruce as well.
And we should direct people to our Facebook page, Twitter as well, because Mitch Cormier, who again was firing on all cylinders last weekend, he's going to be tweeting and Facebooking and keeping us up to date that way.
He had video going, he had photos,
Yeah.
He created graphics, he was there on site. He's basically right next to where the panelists and where Bruce is sitting and watching all of the action. So he's going to be our social media guru on the day. So if people can't manage to get to their TV or their radio, they always have their smartphone in their hand, right? So they can you can watch it on your smartphone. If you don't have time to do that, you can scroll through Twitter or Facebook. There are lots of different ways to keep an eye on everything.
And then highlights later on cbc.ca/PEI. And I believe we're going to have the newly elected leader of the PC Party of Prince Edward Island joining us Monday morning here on Island Morning. But coverage beginning 12:30 online and then moving to radio and television later on Saturday afternoon from the UPEI Sports Center. Tracy, we'll see you there.
Thanks very much, Matt.
Sunshine and Friday, 2 words that go together very nicely. And it does sunshine on Saturday and sunshine Sunday, and that's what our weekend weather forecast has in store for us. This is Island Morning on CBC Radio 196.1 FM. It's 8:30.
This is CBC News. In the sunshine, it is minus 14 degrees. Good morning. I'm Mitch Cormier. In about an hour's time, a man due in court in Charlottetown in relation to alleged threats made against Premier Wade McLaughlin. The Guardian reporting that RCMP arrested the man yesterday, and he's facing charges of threatening the life of the Premier as well as possession of weapons and drugs. When contacted by the CBC last night, an RCMP spokesperson not saying much, only that a man has been arrested and charges will be laid in provincial court this morning. Our reporter Steve Bruce has been assigned to this story today, and we'll have details on our website and on Twitter as soon as that appearance happens. Now, it hasn't happened yet, but the Green Party leader on Prince Edward Island says this might just be the time that his party gets a seat in the legislature. Peter Bevan Baker announcing his candidacy for the next provincial election last night and choosing his district. That's District 17, Kelly's Cross, Cumberland. Natalia Goodwin with more on that story this morning.
Green Party leader Peter Bevan Baker has run before as a federal candidate several times and provincially in 2007, but he thinks this time will be different.
There's just this sense that people are hungry for change, for some new ideas and for some new faces and real change. I'm not just talking about the flip from red to blue and blue back to red, which is the way we've done it here for 150 years.
Last provincial election, the Green Party came in third. The party has never held a seat on the island. Political scientist Don Deserud says doing better this time might be tough. He says with less popular parties, sometimes it's all about the candidate.
You have a specific riding with a lot of votes concentrated in that one riding in support of the candidate, and then you can see an upset.
Bevan Baker is counting on that. He says he's not expecting to form government, but the party is banking on him getting elected. Natalia Goodwin, CBC News, Hampton.
It's now been 3 days and waiting for passengers on board the CTMA ferry Vacancier. It left Cap-aux-Moules, Île-de-la-Madeleine on Tuesday morning to make the 5-hour crossing to Surrey. For the third time this year, it got stuck in heavy ice. That ferry now waiting for the Coast Guard to arrive with the Saint Laurent, the only ship that appears able to break the ice in the strait this winter. Passengers were able to get back to port in Cap-aux-Moules at 4:30 this morning after the captain managed to get the ship turned around and put it back in port 3 days after it left. We have a food recall for you this morning. It's for the Amira brand tahini sauce. CFIA is recalling that sauce because of possible salmonella contamination. Amira brand tahini in the 750-gram package is what's affected, and more information is available on the CFIA website. There's a campaign underway right now to collect feminine hygiene products for the shelves at PEI's food banks. Tracy Cummo says last month she saw an online story about a homeless woman who felt she'd lost her last bit of dignity when she couldn't afford feminine hygiene products. Cummo says she made calls to local food banks to see if those items are in demand.
So it turns out it very much is a need, but I think probably, as you know, it's a taboo topic and people really don't talk about it that much. And I know I never thought to place such an item in the food bank collection item or in the bags when people come around to collect them.
There are 18 collection sites across the island where feminine hygiene products can be donated. The campaign runs until March the 28th, and we've put a link on our CBC PEI Twitter feed this morning. A well-known island historian has passed away. Waldron Laird was known for the History Room, which he maintained in the back room of his house in Kingsborough. It contained mountains of genealogical information and memorabilia from PEI and indeed around the world. Laird would open his home to anyone interested in family history and the stories of Eastern kings. Laird, also an author, a photographer, a huge sports fan, especially